Welcome back to another live stream. How's everyone doing? We've got quite an interesting topic for tonight, but as usual, before we go too far, just want to make sure that the audio is working fine, the video is working okay, you guys can see the stream, there's no stuttering or like the voice is not distorted, there's no echo, or even, can you even hear me? Am I talking to myself? Let me know in the chat, those who are here already. I see there's like 29 people watching. Please let me know if everything is okay. While I wait for feedback, let me drink some coffee. Coffee first, always. Thank you. Thanks, Yumi. Thanks for the feedback. We'll wait for one or two more feedback just to make sure everything is okay for everyone. Thanks, Zach or Roaring Capture. As usual, say hi to people, and if you are a member, you get the priority for your chats to be responded. I'll definitely reply to members first. If you're a member, your name is highlighted in green, and there's a star badge next to your name. But don't worry, as usual, I get to every single chat. Just have to wait a little bit, all right? Thank you so much, Zach, for the update. And nice to see you here, Zach. Hey, Gregory. Gregory says, out. What is out? I don't understand what that is. JTech says, AV all good. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hey, Andrew. Good to see you. Andrew says, good day to you, Robin, everyone. Hope everything went well in Kuching for you. Sorry for the burp. God bless. Yes, I was away for about a week. Just got back a few days ago. I was very, very busy in Kuching. There were a lot of things to do, but everything went smoothly. I managed to get a lot of things done, and yeah, now I'm back in KL. Life goes on as usual. Shuttle therapy goes on. Hey, Chris, how are you? Nice to see you here, Chris. Vision good. Sound okay, but a tiny bit quiet here in the UK. Is everyone else hearing the sound to be a bit quiet? Is it? Because I'm looking at my microphone meter, there's like the loudness indicator. It's already touching red. If I go any louder, there will be distortion. It's already warning me that it is too loud. So everyone else, let me know. Or is it just Chris that is a little bit too quiet? Lenny says, oh, working. Thank you so much, Lenny. Appreciate that. Andrew says, audio and video okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's get to non-members. Ollie Hansen says, the Panasonic GX7 has been on many bike rides with me, mostly with the 45 1.8 or the 20 f1.7. Yeah, tiny lenses, small camera, such amazing combination, right? Squadat says, good morning from Orlando, Florida. Hey Squadat, very good to see you. Yumi says, hi everyone. Hey Yumi, nice to see you here. Lord Adricus says, good afternoon from Sweden. I hope you all are having good days. Thank you so much for the well wish, and I wish the same to you. Nice seeing you here. Thank you so much for the update. BBR says, hi from Mongolia. Wow, okay, hello. Thanks for joining the stream. Captain Webb says, updated GX1 and GF2 mesh up with G110D tech, back buttons of GX1. IA? What is IA? And power buttons and battery door from GF2. Okay, that's a very weird combination. I don't know why, but I don't think that's going to happen. Nick says, audio and video are good. Thank you so much. Thanks, BBR Studio, for the update. Ryan Capture says, Perth is virtually flooded at the moment. Not severely, but there's heaps of deep puddles all over. Wow, so I guess you guys have had too much rain in Perth? That's strange. Because, yeah, the winter is almost over, right? Well, I guess it's still winter, so you still get quite a lot of rainfall, more than usual, and I guess the drainage system in the city was not designed to withstand such massive amount of water, right? Because it's practically a desert. Like, we don't expect Perth to have rainwater that much, so when it really rains, yeah, I guess that's where flood happens, right? Audio, video, A-okay. Thanks, Gregory, for the update. No worries. Nick says, EM1 Mark II with Panasonic 1260? Why are we talking about EM1 Mark II with Panasonic 1260? I thought the topic for today is what micro four thirds camera should Panasonic release next? And Panasonic 1260 is already available, right? And EM1 Mark II is an old camera. It's been 10 years. I'm using EM1 Mark II. I should know. Ollie says, I spilled a bit of soda on one of the buttons and it stopped working for a while. Cleaned it up and got it working again. Which button? Interesting. Okay. All right, I caught up with the chat. We have 43 people watching now. Okay. Thanks, Lenny. Thanks for update. Sound volume is okay here in part of my UK. No worries. Hey, Antreol. Nice to see you here. Andrew says, I had a very interesting week. I traded off a camera plus 2 lenses and got 3 brand new lenses. Yes, I had to let go of my Panasonic LX100, but it's still fetching a good price. No regrets at the moment. I think the LX100 will continue to fetch a good price because the L10 is like so much more expensive, right? And LX100 is still a lot more compact compared to the L10. So I don't see the price of LX100 going down anytime soon. There's technically no true successor or replacement to the LX100. So yeah, but then again, if you don't need it, if you don't use it a lot, there's no point keeping it. So might as well sell it off, use the funds to buy something else that you will use. And yeah, that's a better way of spending money, right? All right, caught up with the chat. Let me give you guys some updates on what's been happening in my life. Last week, I went back to Kuching. I spent 1 whole week there. And that's why there's Kolomi. I have a lot of Kolomi. Don't worry, I won't post any Kolomi photographs. I know I've done that a lot in the past, so I won't do that here again. I did take a lot of Kolomi photographs while I was back in Kuching. It was the anniversary of my mom's passing. So my mom died last year when we traveled to China. A lot of things happened ever since. So this is the first anniversary of her death. There's a lot to do. I don't have to go into details because these are private matters, so I don't have to bore you guys with what I've done in Kuching, but there is a lot to do. And I'm very glad that it was a very productive week. Not only I managed to do a lot of things back home, I also managed to catch up with some important friends that I haven't seen. Many of them I have not seen in a year. So because the last time I was truly back in Kuching, available for everyone, was in July last year. That was 1 year ago. So yeah, it's nice to see some friends. And it's been a while. I should be going back to Kuching a lot more often. It's just that I don't have a reason now that my mom is not there anymore and my work is here in Kuala Lumpur. My photography life is here in Kuala Lumpur. So the main reason I went back so often to Kuching was because mom was there. And now mom is gone. I guess there's not much reason for me to return anymore. But I should make an effort because it is still my hometown. I still have a lot of friends there. We'll see what happens in the future. It's just that the flight tickets, the price is so expensive these days due to the war and everything going on. I'm like just a little bit more reluctant to travel. Previously, I can get like a return ticket for 200 ringgit, all right? Well, for those of you who are not aware of the geographics of Malaysia, where I come from, my hometown Kuching is in Borneo, and I'm currently based in Kuala Lumpur in West Malaysia. So we are separated by the South China Sea. So I can't just drive home. I need to take a flight, the 2 hours flight across the South China Sea to Borneo, where my hometown is. And previously, I can just spend like 200 ringgit or 50 US dollars for a return ticket, right? If I buy early, like 3 or 4 months in advance, no problem. But this round, even I bought my tickets fairly early, I'd still have to spend like 400 ringgit. That's 100 US dollars. So that's double. And if I don't buy it that early, it'll be 500, 600, even more expensive. So ticket price has been so incredibly expensive. I think travel is not a very good option. And yeah, the mom's passing with a lot of things to do, and my funds have been drained. And fun fact, you know, like when we travel, we bought insurance, travel insurance, right? Guess what? I get nothing from insurance. Zero. So everything that I spent, I cannot claim last year, and we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, right? It all went out from my own bank account. So more reasons for me not to, you know, like spend money unreasonably, or you know, I just had to be a bit more cautious of how I manage my funds. That's that. That was last week. It was a productive week. I had a lot of fun catching up with my friends. I got a lot of things done. Now I'm back in Kuala Lumpur. Life goes on. Shuttle therapy goes on. There is an event I want to attend. So currently now in Kuala Lumpur, there is the Davis Cup happening. The Oceania, Asia, Group 3. Apparently, Kuala Lumpur dropped to Group 4 last year. Malaysia dropped to Group 4 last year, and they managed to claw their way back into Group 3. So this year, hopefully they'll stay in Group 3 or even climb to Group 2 next year. But it is happening now, 15 to 18 of July, in National Tennis Center. I intend to shoot some tennis tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll spend half a day at the National Tennis Center, just grab some shots. And I'll probably make a video about shooting action and sports, maybe tips and tricks on using Micro Four Thirds camera. I don't think I've done that before. I thought it would be fun to share, to do more tips and tricks videos, right? I know a lot of people come to my channel, this YouTube channel, to watch my tips and tricks, and there's only so much tips and tricks I can share over the years. I've been on YouTube for more than 6 years, if you haven't realized, and to be entirely honest, whatever tips and tricks they are on the Micro Four Thirds, on Olympus, OM system, I've shared them already, right? Low light shooting, autofocus, dynamic range, get the best sharpness, tips and tricks on using OM system Olympus lenses, how to optimize the battery life, how to optimize your use of electronic viewfinder, all the features, the pro capture mode, the high res shot, the time lapse, live composite, focus stacking, all these features I've talked about, even the secrets of the 5-axis image stabilization, how to optimize them, whatever you can think of, how to optimize the JPEG output from the camera. If I didn't talk about using the art filters and, like even getting the best out of the RAW files, everything, whatever you can think about in a camera, every single feature I have touched on. If you don't believe it, just search on my video feed. You can just type in the search bar whatever you want, say autofocus. There'll be like multiple videos talking about autofocus, even specific cameras and lenses. I've talked about most of them. I'm not saying that I've shared everything, but whatever that I can share based on my knowledge and experience as a photographer using Micro Four Thirds over the past 6 years, whatever there is to share, I've shared. So it's getting more and more difficult for me to create new tips and tricks videos. So I thought I haven't done anything on sports and action photography, so that could be useful. But then again, it's like a lot of people comment on forums. I did read what people say about me. It's like, oh, the earlier years of Robin Wong's YouTube channel, they are so good. You have some gems there, a lot of treasures about, how to get the best out of your camera, the tips and tricks. These days, he just rambles on and on about OM system. He just complains about things. I don't like to watch him anymore. He has nothing useful anymore. I'm like, wow, if I'm only useful for tips and tricks, if I can only produce tips and tricks only, if you only know me being good for tips and tricks, then I think my mission as a photographer has failed. What I'm doing here on YouTube is meaningless. Yes, I understand tips and tricks are useful for a lot of people. You guys learn how to optimize the use of your cameras and lenses. You get the best out of your gear, and I'm helping you to do that so you can enjoy photography more. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about photography. If I cannot make you see that my channel is about photography, if you cannot learn anything from the photographs that I've shared, of the things that I really want to talk about, if none of this matters, it means that I've failed as a content creator, I have failed as a YouTuber, and as a photographer, what I've done so far, they amount to nothing. And I hope that's not true, right? And I hope that's not true. So yeah, from time to time, I'll still try to share tips and tricks. If there are things that I can't share, it's not that I don't want to do them anymore. Like seriously, how many more tips and tricks can I squeeze out of this Olympus and OM system camera? Seriously, it's all been said and done, right? And if I haven't done it, someone else on the internet must have done it already. So yeah, tomorrow I'll go to this National Tennis Center and shoot some tennis. Tomorrow is Malaysia versus Vietnam, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully I get some good shots, and I'll talk about shooting sports using Micro Four Thirds setup. We'll see how this goes. All right, that's it. I don't think there's anything happening in the weekend. I do have some plans already drawn out with my friends. We have made some plans. Other than that, I'm not aware of any big events happening. There will be some big events in August, which is the Kuala Lumpur Photography Festival, but I'll announce that as the time draws nearer. But at the moment, I'm not aware of any big events. I'm sure like the camera brands, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, they have their own events happening everywhere, workshops, photo walks. You guys feel free to look for their Facebook page or website. They have the announcements. I don't have to announce every single event that everyone does, right? I only share about things that I find maybe interesting or worthwhile or worth sharing with you guys. All right, let's get back to the chat. Let me drink some coffee first. I'll get to the chat and then we'll start talking about tonight's topic. What Micro Four Thirds camera should Panasonic release next? What do you guys think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. Okay, let's get to the members chat. First, Rory Carter says, I would like to see a new GM1. A tiny modern camera will be amazing. Yeah, I know, right? The GM series. It has gained a cult following status. So I guess knowing that the camera is so popular now, it makes sense that they revive the series, right? Why not? Yeah. Andrew says, traded in to get the new 918 f4 to 5.6 and 2 new Vutrox lenses for the Sony. The new Vutrox Pancake 26 f2.8 was one of them. I felt to let go of the LX100 was the right choice. How do you find the 26 f2.8? I think Nikon has a 26 f2.8 as well. It's just that the Nikon's version is not cheap. Of course, Vutrox will be a lot cheaper. I wonder if Vutrox sort of like reverse engineered what Nikon has done. Because Nikon does have a Pancake 26 f2.8. That will be interesting to find out. Someone will make a comparison, direct comparison between the Nikon 26 f2.8 versus the Vutrox 26 f2.8. I think they're about the same size. Not the same price though. I'd rather have the Panasonic release a new GX and GM. Come on, Panasonic, please wake up. I know, right? GX, also one of the highly successful series from back in the day. GX7, GX8, GX9. I just thought like GX7, 8, and 9 are so different. Like GX7 is, to me, it looks really good. I like the design of the GX7. I think of the 3, 7, 8, and 9, just from the design standpoint, I would choose GX7. But I know GX8 is the most practical and overall the best featured camera of all. It's weather sealed, it has the best viewfinder, it has all the good stuff. But the GX8 is so chunky, it's even bigger, much bigger than the Panasonic L10 in terms of size and weight, right? And then GX9 is like a step backward from the GX8, and then they removed the weather sealing, and then the construction wasn't very good. And I don't know what Panasonic is doing, but then again, I know that the GX series is very, very highly popular, much like the GM series. So knowing that it is popular, why not make a new series out of them? Continue producing new cameras from this series. It will sell well, right? Yeah. Gregor says, I have both the GMs, since the viewfinder in the GM5 is not the greatest, I find myself using the GM1 most. I think the tiny cameras are a bit niche, best to target a wide audience first. But then again, there are so many big cameras available out there. There are not many small cameras available. So think of it this way, even the big camera users would want a small camera. If the camera, you know, like the GM series is well featured, and it's updated with the modern sensor autofocus capability, right? I would think that even someone who uses a Canon R1 or R3 would want a Panasonic GM. Why not? I mean, if they can afford the Canon R1, they can spend like $10,000 for that. I'm sure they can afford whatever Panasonic is charging for the next GM camera, right? Gary says, does Malaysia have women tennis players too, or just dudes? Do they have women players for the Davis Cup? Interesting. That was a good question. I haven't been to Davis Cup before. This is my first time attending a Davis Cup in Malaysia. Let's see. Tennis Malaysia. Fun fact. Previously, we hosted Malaysian Open for a WTA tournament. Is a, what you call that, certified, a proper WTA tournament, Malaysian Open. So whoever comes and play Malaysia for that WTA tour, it will affect the ranking, right? But I don't think Malaysia will offer like the best prize money or anything. But yeah, it seems like it's all men, right? Interesting. The Davis Cup is all men for Malaysia. Yeah. I'm looking at the photograph of the group photograph of the Malaysian players. It's all men. You're right. Interesting. I have no idea. I guess I'll find out tomorrow if there's any women in a Davis Cup. But seems like it's just all men. You're not wrong. I'll find out tomorrow. Andrew says, I'm dying for a GX9 update. It's way long overdue. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Gary says, all this Panasonic G something, blur something together for me. Okay. I come for the photographs. I endure the gear talk. Ah. But then again, most people just want the gear talk, right? And it's not like I do a lot of gear talk. I am not the most gear-centric YouTube channel, right? Yes, I do reviews, but it's not like I do review all the time. I don't have access to the latest Canon, Nikon, or Sony gear. I have some access to OM system and Olympus gear, since my connection to OM system is completely severed, right? I don't have much connection anymore, and whatever latest cameras and lenses, they don't go to me first, they go to other people. So because of that, my channel has pivoted from doing hardcore reviews to, just photography, right? I would like to think that I have pivoted and I do talk about photography. Yes, I talk about why I love, say, Olympus 25 f1.8 so much, but at the end of the day, if you look at the video, I share like 50 photographs that I've taken on the street, and I talk about photography-centric things that I share. And a lot of the tips and tricks that I share now, they are more towards on how to improve your photography rather than just, this camera is better than that camera, or this lens is sharper than that lens, right? I would like to think that's true. Zach says, action photography tricks will be useful. I've made some mistakes, like shooting in 15 frames per second bursts, not knowing it's only single autofocus. Got a sunburn that day just for 5 photos. That's painful. That's painful, yeah. Andrew says, the other day, when I traded my stuff, I had a chance to get a GX7 with 15mm at the shop. I thought you have a 15 already. You said you bought new, right? What happened to that? I quickly got what I intended to get and I quickly ran out of the shop. Okay. Andrew says, very interesting that Olympus had only 2 Pan Minis and Panasonic with 2 GMs. Why stop at 2? Is Mini such a taboo word? I think sales was not doing that well. I think in terms of profit margin and sales, it did not hit their target. That's why these were scrapped. Same problem with, or same thing happened with the Pan F as well as the EM1X. Yeah. Differentiates small from tiny. Let's get to the non-members chat. Ton says, hello Robin, greetings from Germany. Great to see you live again. It's always very interesting. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. G9 Mark III. Is G9 Mark III due? When was G9 to launch? G9 Mark II was launched. Oh yeah, it's been 3 years. Okay, I'm not surprised if G9 Mark III is coming. Maybe not this year. I think they'll maybe wait 1 more year, G9 Mark III, right? Probably coming next year. Yeah, it's been 3 years since we have G9 Mark II. Right. Yumi says, Panasonic GM, GF, or GX, give us something. Yeah, something's better than nothing, right? And, well, I know that they have just launched the Panasonic L10, and I think the L10 is not a bad camera, although it's a bit chunky, and a lot of people wish that it has wider ceiling and built-in 5-axis mesh stabilization, but overall, it's not a bad camera. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's quite pricey for all the lack of features. But still, there's something. It's just that I don't see it as a Micro Four Thirds camera. You cannot change the lens with it. So I hope that the L10 is a strong indication of something to come. And I hope that something is coming sooner than later. Yeah. Dave says, hi Robin, the answer is any affordable non-flagship camera with face detection, autofocus, and image stabilization. It seems that in Panasonic's world, nothing affordable has face detection or image stabilization, right? Once you have the 5-axis image stabilization and the face detection or the focus, it becomes the flagship level pricing, like G9 or GH series, right? Apart from these 2 cameras, there's nothing, right? Enzo says, hi Robin, I love to see the GX10 with all the subject detection modes. The OM5 really lacks these features for a lightweight wildlife setup. Yeah, what's up with that OM system? Like, I know today we're talking about Panasonic, but OM Digital Solutions should not glance over or should not just neglect the subject detection or the autofocus improvement in their OM5 series camera. I really hope the OM5 Mark III, whenever they are making it, whether it's next year or 2 years, 3 years from now, that should definitely include the latest autofocus system, or at least improve. If they don't want to have the latest one, but at least make a significant improvement from what they did in the OM5 Mark II. It's like the EM5 Mark III, OM5 and OM5 Mark II, they all have the exact same autofocus capabilities. Like, come on, that's just lazy, right? Captain Webb says the IA button is intelligent auto. Okay, fast to press when dial in auto. Also is backlit and remembers its state during a pulse cycle. Very useful. Ah, okay. Interesting. I have not used that. I'm not sure if any of my cameras, Panasonic cameras, have that. Probably they have. I just don't use it. Like LS100 probably has it, right? GM1, GM5 probably has it as well. RGT says, strength 5. You are loud and clear, over. Greetings from Sweden, Robert. Thank you so much for the update, Robert. The Great Vanzini says, good morning here, Robin. Hey, the Great Vanzini, good to see you. And also good to see you at Rob Track's live stream. Was it yesterday or 2 days? Two days ago. Ollie Hansen says, having stabilizing lens and body combining is a very nice thing, but that is the norm in top Micro Four Thirds camera by now. But then again, you don't need the dual IS. Trust me. If you have a powerful 5-axis image stabilization, use the 40 to 150. If you don't have the Pro, find a cheap, the budget one, 40 to 150R. With the 5-axis image stabilization, say from G9 or EM1 Mark II. So these are cameras from 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, these cameras. Try at zoom all the way to 150 with just the in-body image stabilization. You can shoot at 1/20th, 1/30th of a second. 115 millimeters, which is technically 300 equivalent in full frame format. You can shoot at 1/20th or 1/30th of a second handheld. If that is true, all right, and if you can shoot like wide angle, say 14 millimeters or 12 millimeters at 1 second handheld or 2 seconds, if that is true, why put in dual IS? I know dual IS will be better. I know it will be better, but I think it benefits more on the longer end, like 300, 400 millimeters. I don't see the need. It's just going to make the lens more expensive, bigger, more complex, and make things more difficult to do, right? Just give us a really powerful 5-axis image stabilization in body. If you haven't tried it already, Ollie Hansen, give it a try. If you have a G9 or EM1 Mark II or anything newer, try a long lens and slow down the shutter speed. You'll be surprised. Even without the dual IS or the 5-axis sync IS, the image stabilization in the camera body is already so amazing. There's no point in having lens IS or dual IS setup. Skip it. Just save the money and make the lens smaller. Astrom says, good afternoon from Iceland. Hey Astrom, very good to see you here. How are you? Captain Webb says, Panasonic dropped 2 buttons which the GF1 had on the GF2. I guess they did it to distinguish the GF2 from GX1, which has those important buttons, as there are not many to begin with. Okay. We are talking about a lot of buttons here, Captain Webb. BBR says, I'd love to see GX9 updated version in high megapixels. Define high megapixels. Ollie Hansen knows you know you are poor if you eat with only 1 chopstick. 1 chopstick? Who is eating with 1 chopstick? I don't understand. What are we talking about? Things are getting... Is my brain working? Why are we talking about 1 chopstick? And why are we talking about buttons? I don't know. Anyway, Astrom says they could make a new version of the Panasonic GX9 with face detection autofocus and the weather suit body of the GX8. Okay. I hope they do. I hope they do. Ollie Hansen says, I use the live composite for light painting. This is very nice to have. Well, live composite has been around for 10 years now. More than 10 years. 12 years. It was introduced in the EM10 in 2014. And then it was made available in the EM1 original by firmware upgrade. EM1 was made in 2013. It's 2026 now. So 2014, it's been 12 years. So I think it's just going to be available for any Micro Four Thirds cameras these days, right? Captain Webb says GM1 would be perfect if Panasonic gave it the control wheel, click wheel. Control click wheel, GF1, GF2. I don't see any problem with GM1. What's wrong with GM1? I'm perfectly happy with it. Captain Webb says Panasonic should release this most needed Micro Four Thirds next, an ultra cheap entry level body with no buttons and ports missing, repack G100D and GF2 body. Can't be rocket science. Well, if you make the camera as small as the GM1, something has to go. You can't have too many buttons. It's just not going to work, right? It's going to be so uncomfortable. All the buttons and dials and whatever, the click wheel thing is just going to cram so hard. So minimalism is the way to go. Yes, you're going to lose some buttons. You're going to lose direct shortcuts. It's not going to be as convenient or flexible as using larger cameras with all these dedicated dials and shortcut buttons. But that's just how it is. You just have to live with the compromises. It is small. And if you want it to be small, you got to live with something that it lacks, right? Yeah. You can't have everything. You can't have everything. Foodie Fundamental says a waterproof GS10. I don't think waterproof is possible. There's no waterproof Micro Four Thirds camera out there. Waterproofing will make things very, very difficult because you have interchangeable lens part, you have a lot of ports that needs to be open and closed, and making it truly waterproof will be really, really, really expensive. We're talking about maybe double or triple the cost of what they're currently doing, right? So weather sealing is possible. It's just rubber seal all the open parts, whatever there's the port or any parts that is exposed, to just rubber seal it. But to make it waterproof is just not possible. LUTs, forget LUTs. LUTs are, how do I put this? They are poor excuse for poor JPEGs. Yeah. RGT says, you have helped me a lot, sort from Canon R8 full frame to OM5 Mark II. Thank you so much for letting me know. Appreciate the support. Ton says, people always complain a lot. I still enjoy a lot of your videos, all new. Thank you so much, Ton. Appreciate that. Hey, Jeff. How are you? Jeff says, hey, Robin, everyone. Nice to see you here, Jeff. Really appreciate that. Daryl says, F1 with autofocus. Be more specific. What are you talking about? Ali says, a clip on AVF is a nice option. They have it, right? Both Panasonic and Olympus had the external electronic viewfinder before, multiple different versions. And the reason why they don't make it anymore is because people don't buy them. If people keep buying them, if there is a demand, do you think they'll stop? It's because they have made it already. And over the past 10 years or 15 years, the sales were so bad that if they really look at it hard, they realize that they actually lost money. Why would they want to make it again? Of course, it's a nice option. Nobody said it's bad. When they were available, nobody ever said that, you know, having an external viewfinder was bad. But the truth is, not enough people bought them. And because of that, as a business entity, you have to look at what makes money, what works, what loses money, and what doesn't work, and scrap off the part that actually makes you lose money. Does it make sense? And I don't blame Olympus or Panasonic for discontinuing their electronic viewfinder, the external ones. I blame the customers. You guys are not buying, right? We are not buying. If we actually buy them, they will continue making them. Simple logic, right? So sometimes, you know, it's like, yeah, you want it, you better spend money on it, right? If you don't, then it's just going to go away. RGT says, I regret buying an OM5 Mark II instead of OM3 because lack of tracking objects. I would love an OM5 with OM3 design. Why would you want an OM5 with OM3 design? OM5 is OM5. OM5 design is perfectly fine, and I actually quite like OM5's design. And OM3's design is also very beautiful. OM3 is OM3. They're both very, very different cameras. Like, why would you want... It just doesn't make sense. If you want one, if you like the OM3's design, then get OM3. Like, you don't wish one camera to be something like that, right? It's like someone wishing, oh, I wish Sony cameras have Fuji design, then get a Fuji camera. Yeah. And to be honest, OM5 has, in some ways, OM5's design is better than OM3. It has better ergonomics. When you hold a camera, it's steadier and it's more comfortable. OM3's handling is really terrible. It's so poor. Yeah, I'm not saying that the design is ugly. I'm just saying the handling is quite poor. Yeah, let's get to the members chat first. Let's see. if we have. Gregory says, when you say something interesting about a particular camera model, I figure out how to do it on my gear. Okay. My mom was always a big fan of Davis Cup. Andrew says, what if Panasonic suddenly makes a surprise announcement of a new GM? Probably it's time to buy a lottery. You should buy a lottery regardless anyway. You might strike 1 million, right? Lenny says, the need to bring out a new tiny camera like the GX1, but with an electronic viewfinder. I can't see why the EV cannot be just a bump on top. Electronic viewfinder, right? And not have to be within the tiny body, understand? Yeah, but then again, a lot of people treasure the flat top design of the rangefinder. I don't know. I don't mind the bump. I'm perfectly fine with the bump. I like the DSLR design, right? Or mini DSLR design. I actually find rangefinders looking quite ugly. I never really appreciated the flat top design. I thought it's weird. It just looks boxy and doesn't look like a camera to me. I've always liked the OMD design, right? The EM1, EM5, OM5 design. I never really liked the Fuji flat top design, the X Pro or the X100 or the Leica rangefinder. I never liked those designs. But then again, these are personal. I understand we all have different biases. We have different likes and dislikes. So I'm just telling you mine, right? Yeah. Okay, members, JTech says, are there any situations where you would utilize live composite during the daytime? Just curious, since we're talking about lightning. If there is lightning, you can use live composite. I don't know. Like, I can only think of one for now. Yeah. Gregory says, seals take up room and passing signals across interfaces is challenging. Yeah. No, I just don't think waterproof is gonna happen. Weather seal is the best you can get. Captain Web says, weather seal body is nice to have, but pricey. I would rather invest that money in a good bag, as most of my lenses are not weather sealed anyway. But then again, if it's the entry-level camera or if it's not the pro-grade camera, that's fine. Like I'm talking about GM or GX series, that's okay. But then if you're going to higher level cameras like G9 or GH or the M1 series, then they better be weather sealed. Yeah, no excuses. Matt says, hi Robin, late to the live stream. Not really. We're just half an hour into the live stream. Whatever Panasonic releases, I will be happy to see. I recently found your channel after moving from Canon and getting an OM3. So happy with the format. All right, welcome to the Micro Four Thirds community. I hope you stay and I hope you enjoy using the OM3. RGT says, don't mention the war here in Sweden. We had a great time in tennis and Davis Cup earlier. No more. I understand. Yeah, the war is just affecting everyone everywhere in the world, right? It's just sad. Yeah. Ollie Hansen says, I use my Pen F quite a bit, but now the OM System OM5 Mark II is what I use. That's awesome. Captain Webb says, the little pens and GMs were ahead of its time. No streaming market at that time. This changed, and there are no real entry-level bodies to bring new blood to Micro Four Thirds. Image stabilization for street life? Gimbal? What is street life? I don't understand. Yeah. Alex says, hello, I shoot birds and wildlife with OM1 Mark II and 150 to 600. Is upgrading the lens to 150 to 400 Pro really worth the price difference? Is the picture quality that much better? Oh, Alex, you must be very new to this channel. I have never reviewed the 150 to 600. I have never reviewed 150 to 400. I've never shot with them. I've never even really shot with the OM1 Mark II extensively. So, wrong place, Alex. Wrong place. And I have zero wildlife content. The closest I get to wildlife is like going to the zoo or Kuala Lumpur Bird Park. And people complaining, oh, Robin, these photographs are not representative of real life. You should go to the wild, get yourself eaten by a wild crocodile while shooting photographs. No. Sorry. Yeah, well, there are so many OM ambassadors out there, right? Why don't you ask one of them, Alex? I'm sure they'll be very, very willing to sell you the more expensive lens. Yeah, but seriously, on a more serious note, I am not the best person to give you this answer, so sorry. Kadabab says, by the way, I wonder what DJI could do having image stabilization Micro Four Thirds body and a DJI gimbal communicating could be groundbreaking stabilization. Okay, but then again, these are for video stuff, right? I don't really care about video. Again, if you have been in my channel, you know that I don't really do video and I don't really care about cinematography. Yeah, that's like a completely different alien world. So, Ollie says, all my bird photos are taken with Pentax K3 Mark III. That is just what works for me. That's awesome. Vapagamuka says, good evening, Robin. Hey, Vapagamuka. Very nice to see you here. Let's see. Gregory says, I find I use my Ailing Nikon P310 often. I would love a small point and shoot type with micro four thirds mount, weather sealed, face detect. All right. Juliet, hey, nice to see you here. Hi, Robin. Hope your trip was okay for you. I managed to join again today. Very good to see you. Thanks for joining. And it was okay. It was very productive. I was away for 1 week. Managed to get a lot of things done. And caught up with a lot of friends I have not seen in about a year. So it was a good trip. I enjoyed myself, but then again, now I have to come back to Kuala Lumpur. Life has to go on. So yeah. Zat says, live composite is useful during the day in combination of the ND filter. You can do stuff. Can you use live composite with the ND filter? I don't think you can, right? You have to choose one or the other. You can't combine them. I don't think so. Yeah. Gregory says insects is wildlife. Well, I just saw an ant crawling around on my desk. So that could be a wildlife, right? Just in front of my desk. I don't have to go to the wild. Should follow. I did shoot some spiders in my room before, the jumping spiders. So typical spiders that actually live in your house. You consider that wildlife? Let's see. Let's go to the non-members chat. Katamap says, what is also needed for live street streamers? What the hell is live street streamers? Let me see. Let me search. I have no idea what this is. Okay, popularized in Chinese cities, Shenzhen, Guilin, Shanghai. Individuals set up makeshift outdoor studios on sidewalks, under bridges, in public places to broadcast themselves. Armed with ring lights, microphones, and tripods, this broadcaster... No. Why wouldn't you want to do that? That's crazy. No thank you. That would make life so much easier. No cables connected to the body. No. Those are like an alien world. Thomas says, they should release a new camera I can afford, that is all. No, seriously, a new in the GH5 series would be great. GH series is never affordable. It's always the most expensive camera from the entire Micro Four Thirds camera lineup from Panasonic, right? It's the top of the top. It's their flagship. How is the GH series affordable? That doesn't make sense. Ollie says, the TUF TG7 is quite good actually. That is waterproof. Yes, but it has a tiny sensor, right? And to use that same waterproofing technology, say you want to put it on the OM1 camera, if you want the same waterproofing, are you willing to pay, say, $5,000, $6,000 US for that camera? Or maybe even $10,000 US? It's just not feasible, right? Captain Webb says, OMS and Panasonic should either license the Leica EVF connector. Why? Leica EVF actually if you guys are not aware, Leica actually uses Olympus electronic viewfinder. Do you guys realize that? You can attach the Olympus VF3, 2 or 4 on Leica cameras for the longest time, instead of using Leica's original electronic viewfinder. Maybe not the latest ones, not on the latest M11 or whatever, but for the longest time, if you have the Leica electronic viewfinder, instead of using the Leica version, you can use the Olympus version. So what makes you think that the technology came from Leica? I don't think it came from Leica anyway. Yeah. The Great Vanzini says, apparently young folks get along without an electronic viewfinder, us old folks don't. Yeah. It is just a shooting experience, right? Like if you want to shoot with a camera, having a viewfinder just changes things. It's just different. Just different, right? OM3 with OM5 design. Okay. Things are getting less and less logical as we go along. Craney says they should make a compact rangefinder with face detect and wider ceiling. And again, like, they did a PanF. It doesn't have wider ceiling. I know that was a mistake. Obviously, face detect was not a big thing more than 10 years ago, but it didn't sell well. So, you know, like, yeah, that's Olympus and OM system. And if that's the case, it's a true case study, right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but then again, it's like just specifically for that rangefinder design, what makes you think that it will sell? All right, I don't think so. Yeah. Warren says, my answer to the stream question is anything. Let us know there is something happening. Yeah, having something is better than nothing, right? Anything is good. Captain Webb says, live composite will be so much more useful for intentional camera movement photography if image stabilization could be programmed to move while using a tripod. Okay. Just invest in the tracker, right? I think that's what a lot of people do when they do the astrophotography. They can capture the Milky Way shot for like 5 minutes, just follow the movement, right? Minute says, hi Robin, I got my first ever real camera, the EM1. Thank you so much for the info, advice, knowledge you have shared in your videos and vlogs. Much love from Philippines. Congratulations on the EM1. I hope you enjoy the camera. Okay, let's see. Gregor says, microphone nerds Emily covers the big lenses very well. Good for her. Zach says, I mean physical ND filters. Ah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Andrew says, you guys are talking to each other, no worry. Having a wildlife. Right. Tomo says, would you say an Olympus EP7 plus kit lens 1442 and 14150 for $599 is a good deal? Will you say for PanF instead? You're the best. I've never used the EP7. You can't find one here. They don't sell it here. If there is an EP7 in the market, it's a gray unit. I wouldn't recommend having it. You can't get it fixed in the OM system Malaysia. So not having the EP7, not having used it before, I wouldn't say anything about it. But then again, PanF is so overpriced now. I don't think it's worth it. The price is so overbloated in the used market. Might as well use the same money, get like the, I don't know, EM1 Mark II, EM1 Mark III, or even the OM1, right, with the same price. Yeah. Ollie Hansen says, I use manual ND filters a lot, even a reverse ND grad for sunsets. The filters needs cleaning though. Ah, that makes sense. All right. Michael says, Panasonic's next micro four thirds camera should be a true GX9 successor. Seems like we have a lot of GX9 fans in the house tonight. Gary says, I also have an EPL8, need to find a good home for it. All right. Juliet says, we can talk all day about what we wish the manufacturers would make, but for a truly economical standpoint, what is most likely? I'm curious to see the future of micro four thirds next year. I think not just economical, but what people would buy. They can put up an expensive product, but if people are willing to spend the money, why not, right? It's more like, what are the products from Panasonic that if you release it next, people will actually buy? I think we have some answers based on the chat here and based on our observation of what's been happening around in the market. GM series definitely is one that I think will be a sure hit if they release the GM5 Mark II or GM1 Mark II or GM something. GX series as well, I think that series is quite popular. Even the G100, if they actually put in the 5-axis image stabilization with the face detection autofocus and full width sensor 4K, because I know that if you shoot 4K with the G100, it's cropped. So you don't have this full sensor width capability, right? So if you have full width 4K, no crop, face detect autofocus, and 5-axis image stabilization, I think the G100 will fly. They can make it more expensive. Of course, with these features, you can't make it cheap. Yeah, the GS series, GM series, I believe these are the cameras that people will buy. I think they will do very well in the market. There is a place for smaller cameras. I think people want small cameras, definitely. Yeah. Gary says, any new camera, as long as it is made of solid gold and has a built-in espresso machine. Espresso machine, hey. Olianza says, my Olympus clip-on viewfinder fits my EPL5 and Leica X Vario. So Leica uses the Olympus electronic viewfinder. Yep. That's true. A lot of people do that, right? They buy the Leica camera, and to save some money, they use the Olympus electronic viewfinder because it's a lot cheaper than what Leica charges. Way, way cheaper. It's technically the same thing. Anyway, same electronics, same optics in the viewfinder. So Penny Steam says compact light, something like the Canon V1 or L19, but with interchangeable lens, micro four thirds lens, and image stabilization. If possible, electronic viewfinder like what we have on the GX7. But the GX7's electronic viewfinder is so bad, right? Am I the only one thinking that it's so bad? Like, I know a lot of people complain about the rainbow tearing, but that's not the thing that makes me dislike it. It feels very, I don't know, it looks... What I remember is it's not smooth. It's stuttery. Like when you pan around or even when there are things moving in the viewfinder, it's worse than looking through a TV screen. It's just not smooth. And that experience, it just takes away from the overall enjoyment of doing photography. And I don't think... If you have used Olympus electronic viewfinder, even in the cheapest camera like the EM10 series, right? It's always smooth. It never stutters. It's always smooth, right? If Olympus can do it, why can't Panasonic? Right? All right, I've caught up with the chat, surprisingly. All right, we don't have a lot of people watching. Oh, no, there are new chats. Okay, I saw wrongly. Let me drink some coffee and continue with the chat. Hey, John, how are you? You check the espresso machine, hey. You can make your coffee on the go with your camera, right? Oren says, good question, Juliet. Micro four thirds being a tiny part of the shrinking industry is discouraging. There's a lot of factors of demand versus profit versus sales numbers that is not smart enough to figure out. It's not about smart enough or not smart enough, right? Sometimes there are some things that we can see. Like the reason why the GM series, they were discontinued was because they were not selling well enough. And, you know, like now we say, oh, we want a GM. But then again, when they actually had the GM series back then, people were not buying, right? Maybe you can say, you can blame them for the lack of marketing. You can blame them for, oh, maybe it's the wrong timing, or, you know, like they didn't really highlight the features well enough. They could have done more to shout about the products. But then again, at the end of the day, the hard truth was that not enough people bought these cameras. So that's why they were discontinued in the first place. To bring them back to the company is a big risk, right? It's a big ask. So yeah. Andrew says, I think the word you're looking for, the GX7 EVF, is hallucinating. Even if I find a GX9 EVF is an acid trip. It's like when you look through it, right? You don't enjoy using it. Like, it's not... I don't know. The experience is so bad. Andrew says, first of all, okay, I'm kind of having craving for one now. Coffee. Captain Webb says, is it true that Panasonic stopped producing micro four thirds lenses? Not true. If so, chances are there will be no new micro four thirds body. Where do you get the idea they stopped making lenses? They still make lenses. Amia says, I think they should really bring back the GF series, but with better features, like even just weather sealing. Really. GF is like the cheapest of the cheapest. If I'm not mistaken, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So Panasonic, they have the top of the line, GH. Okay, the G9 GH, that's the pro level. And then they have like the GX, GM, like G100, whatever in the middle. And then the GF is like the cheapest of the cheapest, the budget level, the lowest level. And you are asking the lowest level camera to have weather sealing. Okay, I think that's a lot of ask. If they have come up with GF series, with say updated autofocus, with image stabilization, with the latest sensor, I think that's already very good. I don't think weather sealing is, well, at least to me, it's not necessary. If you want a cheap, and again, we're talking about budget cameras, right? So let's say your budget camera has weather sealing, but there are not many budget lenses that have weather sealing. And it can only be 100% weather sealed if the camera and lens are both weather sealed. There are many cheap Panasonic and Olympus and OF system lenses that are not weather sealed. So when you talk about budget category, we're talking about affordable camera that anyone can buy, right? To have weather sealing, honestly, not that I don't want it, but honestly, I think it doesn't make sense. If you ask me, it doesn't make sense. All it says, the remote app for Panasonic will work with both GX7 and GM1. I like that app and use it a lot. Okay, why are we talking about app? We have a lot of random chats today, things coming out of nowhere. Like, why are we talking about app? Anyway, I know it works, but anyway. Penny Steam says GX7 tilt option was my intention. Namely, you can use it from above. Okay, so you prefer tilt screen. Okay, understand. The Great Vanzini says GX7 electronic viewfinder is very odd. My eye struggles to find it. Same here. You're not the only one, the Great Vanzini. You're not the only one. Andrew says GF with weather sealing is a bit too much to ask. Perhaps image stabilization at most. Yeah, they don't need to put like 5 axes, right? They can use the Olympus Pen series, the EPL series, the 3 axes. I think that's fine. I am actually very happy with what the EPL 7, EPL 8, EPL 9, the 3 axis image stabilization can do. It's actually quite impressive. It's not the full 5 axis that we get from the flagship level cameras, but the 3 axis is still, do not underestimate what it can do, right? Yeah, Cuttlefish says, I think modern mobile phones kill off cheaper cameras for a lot of people, but it's coming back around to where people want a small budget camera again. It has charm and Micro Four Thirds should capitalize on it. Definitely, there is a difference between using an actual camera and a phone. I think no matter how advanced the phone is, it has too much computational features. It's just over-processed, and the whole experience of holding the phone, right, versus holding an actual camera, that experience itself is already so different. Like when I hold a camera with the proper grip, shooting through the viewfinder, automatically I'm in the zone of trying to get a better photograph. When I'm using my phone, it just doesn't work. Yeah, it just doesn't work. I think people start to realize that already. Yeah, totally. BSIM says, EM1 Mark 3 into a G7 body? No, EM1 Mark 3's body is perfect. Don't change it. Why GX7 body? Lumix GUI, no. EM1 Mark 3 is one of the best handling camera that I've ever used in my life. No thank you. G9 is okay. G9 is fine. It's just a little bit too large and heavy. But no, EM1 Mark 3. If you haven't used EM1 Mark 3, trust me, it's one of the best handling camera ever. It's so good, right? The app is also a viewfinder. But what's the point? I don't understand, right? Varun says, I don't agree when some people say you can't make tiny Micro Four Thirds camera anymore, but constant online wish listing, like I want a tiny camera with image stabilization and sealing with big EVF works against that. Yeah, I think they can make it. They just don't want to make it. Maybe the reason is not economical. Maybe it's getting too expensive, some of the parts, because they can't sell by large quantities. So it's not feasible to make it small. It's not that they cannot make it. I think they can. It's just becoming more expensive making it small. Yeah. Yeah, nobody says it can't work in the app. Why? Why are we talking about the app? How does that make Panasonic release the new camera, or the new camera that Panasonic should release? I don't understand. All right, we are 2 minutes to 11. I want to share the first set of photographs, but let me drink some water to stay hydrated. We have less people watching than usual. We only have 58 people watching. Less and less people watching live streams. That's why I don't do this very often anymore. What's the point of me going live is if no people are watching, right? All right. So I have a few set of photographs to share, but the first set was taken with a Fuji camera. Yes, I have a Fuji camera. I still am not going to tell you which camera that is. I joined a Fuji photo walk 2 weeks ago. It was 2 Sundays ago. It was led by my friend Azul, and it was a black and white outing. So we met up at GMBB. Those of you in Kuala Lumpur, you know the GMBB building in Bukit Bintang. We met up there. Azul gave a short presentation about black and white photography, and then he led a short walk from GMBB all the way to Lalaport. And these are the photographs I've taken from that photo walk with that mysterious Fuji camera, which I will not tell you what camera it is. I also won't tell you what lens it is. So here it is. This was just outside the GMBB building, starting to walk towards Lalaport, right? Black and white. And I did some panning shots. So I submitted this one photograph for, they have like a mini competition. So the best 3 photographs will win some prizes from Fuji. I didn't win. There were, I think, about 20-something people there. So out of 20-something people, this was not selected as one of the winners. But it doesn't really matter. It's not about winning or competition. I just want to have fun, hang out with my friend Azul. And yeah, just to enjoy going out with a different crowd, right? Yeah, there was some interesting people there. And it was definitely a very enjoyable outing. So I did a panning shot with the Fuji camera. And of course, when there's a cat, I must capture it. I must go for the cat, all right? Perhaps not the best black and white photograph, but I don't care. Cat will always be very, very important for me. When I see one, I'll definitely want to capture the cat. So yeah. And I saw a hoarding. So you know, like how when there's like a construction site, outside there's a fence, we call it the hoarding, and there's a tear through the hoarding. So from this particular gap or hole, I shot through it and framed the Merdeka 118 building, which is currently still the 2nd tallest building in the world, right? Through that gap. So it's like a frame hole. It sort of tells you that this is a shot from a construction site. Whatever they are constructing there is still in progress versus a tall building which has been constructed. So layers that I try to put in a photograph. Some growth. So the hoarding obviously is metal, and then we have something organic growing on top of it, which is those leaves, right? The vines, the leaves. So something organic, something metal, man-made, a contrast of 2 different elements. Yeah. Again, play of light and shadow, just waiting for someone to pass by. I just like that you have bright parts, you have dark parts, you have highlights, you have shadows, you have a lot of crisscross of vertical and horizontal lines, and then suddenly there's like a human walking by. So yeah, this was the Hangtua LRT station, if I'm not wrong, just outside Hangtua LRT station. So those of you in KL, you know where it is. And this is from Lalaport already. It's a reflection. Window panels, which was 100% reflective. I guess the reason why the window panels were reflective were to reflect heat away from the sun so that you'll reduce the heat that comes into the building, if that makes sense. So because it's so reflective, right, it just reflects 100% and the building across it. And of course, what makes the shot work was the dramatic sky, the puffy clouds, and the dark sky. It was quite a very interesting morning. We have some good light, we have some dramatic clouds in the sky to play with. So yeah, and as usual for street photography, we want some people element in the shot. So there's this lady coming by, just took advantage of all the vertical lines, a lot of vertical lines in the shot, and because there's a lot of vertical lines on the hand railing, on the shops, the window panels on the left, the building at the top is all vertical, and then she's wearing a shirt with vertical stripes. It just adds to all the vertical, repetitive, recurring pattern sort of theme in the photograph. So yeah, just creative play of reflection. I always like to play with reflections. Whenever I see reflections, I'll take some shots. So again, shot of the Merdeka 118 tower with some dramatic sky with the puffy clouds. That itself is very interesting already. And then you have the top panel glass, which acts as a ceiling or roof, which shields the walkway from rain, not so much from the sun, I think, because it's transparent, but because it has some reflection, you can see some people in the reflection as well. That's actually one of the Fuji participants for the photo walk. I don't really remember who she was, but yeah, that's one of the participants. That's it. Only 9 photographs for the first set. I do have another set that I want to share, but let me get to the chat first. If we don't have a lot of chat, we'll go to the second set of photographs. But let me drink more coffee. Coffee. Andrew says, no offense to mobile photography, but I find it like putting too much MSG on food, too much computational AI. I'd rather have a proper camera with a proper lens, fine dining paired with a nice wine. It's like, I understand that from consumers' point of view, people don't pixel peep, and they just want to give what people like. I'm sure they did like a survey for non-photographers, right? Just normal people looking at photographs, what they like. Oh, they don't want noise. So just get rid of all the noise. Smudge away all the details. Don't care about sharpness, right? Oh, you know, it's too mushy, too blur because of the noise reduction. Let's bring back the sharpness by over-sharpening. Then we have like artifacts and all the double lines and everything. And oh, they like strong colors. Let's give the HDR overbaked colors, strong reds, strong blues, make it like super saturated and punchy, and then all the realism just goes out the window, right? Like seriously, they shouldn't make the photographs to please the non-photographers. Like seriously, if there's noise, right? If the colors are not super punchy or saturated, then just let it be. Just capture reality as it is. Just capture what the eye sees, right? Like why over exaggerate all this processing? It doesn't make sense. It just makes things a lot worse. Yeah. Zach says that building looks like an old mobile phone from the 90s. Lenny says, yes, snap the cat. Of course. Never forget, never ignore the cat. The cat is important. Yeah. Juliet says, fantastic black and white images, Robin. Well done. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Just a short series. It was a short walk. It was about less than an hour. So I don't expect to be able to capture like 20, 30 good shots. And in between those shooting, there were a lot of chatter. So, you know, like it's an outing from Fuji. So, you know, people talk. We chit chat, right? So, yeah. Cuttlefish says, EM1 Mark III body is absolutely perfect. So comfortable. I know, right? That's why earlier when someone suggested to put it in the G7 body, I was like, what kind of horror wish is this? Like, why? It makes zero sense, right? Because EM1 Mark III is just perfect. Doesn't make any sense. Captain Web says, most important question, which color science should Panasonic implement? I like my GF2. Yes, GF2 actually has very good color science, but it's different from EPL8 for sure. But you don't get that GF2's color science in the latest Panasonic cameras already, right? Like the LX100, GH5, G9, even the GM1, GM5. They don't have the GF2 colors anymore. It's somewhat very different. So I don't mind using the GF2 colors. I thought the GF2 colors are very similar to the let's say the, I don't know, EP2, EP3 colors from Olympus, right? Yeah. Nicholas says, why not copy Fuji a little bit? Micro Four Thirds, small compact, but bright lens. Okay, maybe some compromise in regards to button styles. For everything else, they have Lumix S. I don't understand. Small body with compact lens. We already have small body, right? We have GM1, GM5. Of course, we want them to make more. Of course, we want Panasonic to have GF series, GM series, or GX small bodies, right? And bright lens. Of course, we have bright lenses already, right? We have, say, 15 f1.7. Is that bright enough for you? We have 17 f1.8. We have 25 f1.8, 25 f1.4. You want compact? Okay, 45 1.8. Is that compact enough for you? Even the Panasonic's 20 f1.7 is rather compact. It's pancake lens at f1.7. Like, everything is there, right? Maybe some compromise in regards to buttons. Yeah, if you make it small, it has to be compromised, right? Like, if you use the GM series cameras, there's, of course, the button styles. It's not going to be the same as, say, what you use from G9 series, for example. Yeah. Yeah, what you're wishing is already there. It's just that maybe a new version of GM series, that would be amazing. Michael says, we love to hear you talk. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Cuttlefish says, I agree, Andrew. Mobile photography might look nice on the surface, but the moment you zoom in, it looks awful. Zero room to crop and characterless. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Ollie says, the app competes with clip-on EVF. That is my point, but I'm not going to clip my phone on. This is there's a disaster waiting to happen. Like, what the hell is this? Nobody's going to do that. People will just rather shoot like that. Right? Yeah, this, and especially smaller cameras. This is quite large, right? If the camera is tiny, like a lot smaller, let's say a GM series camera, I don't have it with me now. It just doesn't make sense to have it on using this as a viewfinder. Just no, it doesn't work. Yeah. Captain Webb says Fuji SM5 is so far ahead of the OM system or Panasonic currently offering in what body format is not funny anymore. Yeah, only the XM5 doesn't have image stabilization, right? If it has that, then it'll be perfect. Yeah. Too bad though. Too bad. If it has, I might actually buy one. Like seriously, I might actually buy one. No joke. Yeah. Let's get to the members chat. Let's see. Juliet says, I wholeheartedly agree that mobile photography can never replace a real camera. I always carry a camera with me. However, in emergency situations, I found a workaround for getting more organic photos out of an iPhone. Yeah, of course, if you don't have a camera with you, smartphone, well, the best camera is the camera that you have with you at all times, right? So yeah, it works. Zach says, I tore apart a broken phone the other day and had 5 camera sensors. They all fit on a micro four thirds sensor together. It was interesting to see the difference make micro four thirds huge. Okay. Let's see. We're a little bit behind. I'll try to catch up. HDMI out is useful. It communicates well with external monitor. No, it doesn't work. I don't know, man. Ollie, you and I have very different definition of a camera. Very, very different definition. Warren says, great photos, Robin. Love the high contrast black and white. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Great. Vanzini says, I just can't let go of my Fuji, although I'm mostly an all-in-5 shooter these days. Which Fuji do you have? Tomo says, beautiful contrast in these pictures. Thank you. The contrasts were added in post. I shot everything in RAW. Sandeep says, hey Robin, how are you? Hope you're doing great. I'm doing alright. Just came back from Kuching. Did a lot of things there. It was a productive week. Met up with a lot of friends. Well, back to KL, so life goes on. On mobile photography, I hope there are a way to dumb down the camera or camera app for it to work. Sometimes the best camera is the one with you. Yeah, that's true, minus the MSG. That's true. Zimi says, hi Robin and chat. Hey Zimi, how are you? Nice to see you here. Tommy says, hi, still watching from Pekanbaru and waiting for a 3D pop video or maybe some Elmarit lens. What is Elmarit lens? I don't understand. From Robin's POV. I don't understand what Elmarit lens. Okay. If you're referring to Leica, all right? We've talked about this in a previous live stream, a few streams ago. Whenever I look at a Panasonic lens with a Leica badge, I will just call it a Panasonic lens. Because Panasonic 100% made and manufactured the Panasonic Leica lens. It may have a Leica badge, but the badge is basically meaningless. It doesn't carry any value. How did Panasonic lens get or obtain the Leica badge? Basically, they design the lens, they send the design to Leica for approval. If it matches the Leica's standard or it meets the Leica's requirements for them to allow the use of their Leica branding, then they can use the Leica brand on the Panasonic lens. That's it. Leica has zero input in terms of design. Leica has zero input in terms of manufacturing. It is 100% done by Panasonic. So in a way, I'm quite sad to hear this, to find this out, because it means that Panasonic was fully capable of making their own lenses. They don't need Leica. In fact, because they put the brand Leica in their lens, Leica takes the credit. I understand from marketing point of view, people say, oh, wow, this is a Leica lens. Leica, wow, red dot. Leica is like such a unicorn. Not unicorn, that's not the right word. It's such a highly respected brand in the photography community, right? When you hear about Leica, it's like, wow, it's expensive. It's ridiculously expensive, and you have to be really, really wealthy, and you must have done really well in life to be able to afford a Leica, right? So when you see a Panasonic lens with a Leica, maybe they think the decision was that, okay, yes, we can make the lens, but we can't sell it. How do we sell the lens? Let's put on a Leica badge. Let's pay Leica to use the brand. I think that's what went on in the marketing side of things. I'm just assuming. But the truth is, Leica never contributed in the making of the lens. It was 100% designed and made by Panasonic. They were fully capable of making these lenses. It just pains me to see Leica taking the credit whenever, oh, this lens is so good because it's Leica. No, it's not. It is Panasonic. Panasonic made it. Leica just certified it. They just put the chop in it. They just put the logo, the red dot on it, just because it's sort of past their standards. Who knows? Maybe Panasonic can design a better lens than Leica, right? It's just that, oh, you have to follow our guidelines and standards. You have to change certain things to have our Leica certification. No. That's why every time, if you look at people saying Panasonic Leica, I'll just say Panasonic because I think Panasonic deserves more credit. I think Panasonic is fully capable of designing all these lenses. I think Panasonic can stand on their own. They don't need the Leica certification. And people have this idea that just because it has a Leica brand in it, it has some secret sauce. Maybe it has some better coating, or it has some special glass elements. It has that Leica character. Come on, guys, seriously. If you have shot with Leica before, you have used Leica lenses that's made in Germany, Leica made 100% lenses, you know that all these Panasonic lenses don't have that secret sauce. So don't go around asking people, oh, yeah, this is a Leica. No, it's not. It's Panasonic. And I wish, and I really want Panasonic to take credit and be prouder of their own products and their capabilities of making lenses. They are fully capable of making lenses. So yeah, I will make POV with Panasonic lenses, not Leica lenses. So I hope that answers your question, Tommy. All right. Santic says, what Micro Four Thirds camera should Panasonic release next? GX9 Mark II or GX8 with Face Edition autofocus? I thought GX9, GX8 are the same series, right? Like, seriously, just any one of them will be great. Yeah, Michael says, you do a lot of technical talks. You ever do any talks about composition? I did! And nobody watched. I have so many talks on composition. Nobody watched. Okay. Let's see. Next Monday, I'm going to release a video about real tips that will improve your photography. That's nothing to do with gear, right? Let's see how that video goes. The truth is, nobody cares about composition. Nobody cares about real tips on photography. Everyone just cares about the sharpest lens, the best camera, all the tips and tricks. Nobody really cares, you know? Okay, let's see. What was that again? Let me find... Let's see. Give me a moment. I almost got there. There it is. Composition. So if you haven't seen this, Michael, go to this particular video. It has become members only now because I think I only gotten like a few hundred views. So videos that have less than 10,000 views after several months, I will take it down and it becomes members only. Fair, right? I make my videos free for you to watch. If you don't want to watch, I just make it members only. Then you have to pay to watch. Yeah. So there's one example. There were a few others, but this is just one of the examples of the composition that I talk about that nobody's interested in. And it's like it's hard making content, being a content creator, being a photographer, because I know what matters. And I keep saying that storytelling, decisive moment, it matters more. But no, people just care about sharpness. People just care about what lens is best. People just care about should I upgrade from OM1 to OM Mark II? Should I get the Pen F? Should I get this? Nobody cares about photography. And every time I make a video about photography, nobody watches. It's just... And it's very demoralizing being a photographer. Yeah. And I can't just keep making videos that I want to make, right? If nobody watches my video, then this channel is just going to go down, 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 down. And then the algorithm will think that, nobody watches Robin's channel. Let's not promote Robin's channel to anyone anymore. And then you see, like, even I do a review for the OM1 Mark III, maybe I only get like 500 views. And I don't want that to happen, right? I still want this channel to continue to survive and do well. And it's just so hard to find a balance of making videos that people want to watch and making the videos that I want to make. If I just make videos that I want to make, then nobody's watching. If I just keep making videos that people want to watch, then I don't enjoy making them. So that balance is always the struggle. Okay, let's get to a few more chat and I'll share the second part of my photo series. Zach says, I do mount my phone on top of my camera, but it's so I can shoot behind the scenes videos. Yeah, but not for photography, right? Andrew says, on another separate news, Sony decided to launch a bridge camera after 8 years, the RX100 Mark V. OM Panasonic should bring back the classics. Yeah, there's a market for that. They know what they're doing, right? They know what they're doing. Zach says, and the tip, if you have a Samsung, there's an app you can get called Camera Assistant, lets you prevent some of the post-processing and prioritizes optical zoom. Okay. I don't have a Samsung phone. Sorry about that. Jari Hikari is in the house. Hi from Finland. Hello. Good to see you. 24 degrees. Wow. And you're melting. Well, my room is 29 degrees. So I'm 5 degrees hotter than you. And I'm still not melting. I'm still doing fine. I hope Panasonic makes small micro four thirds cameras. I think everyone is wishing the same thing tonight. This site towards screen says, I was just taking photos with a simple zone focus camera. Made me think, why cannot we have simple cameras? The camera I use basically uses a simplistic Sunny 16 aperture. Alright. I guess like simple autofocus is fine. There's not too much to ask for, right? Santic says G100 Mark II or G200, G110, image stabilization and face detection autofocus. Yeah, I don't know, like that's not the only thing, right? Remember the G100, it also has crop 4K. The 4K shooting is not full width. There are many things wrong with that camera. Come to think of it. For a camera that's designed for vlogging, right? It doesn't even have full width 4K. What's up with that? Yeah, drink more water. Weather is overheating recently. Crazy, right? Yeah, GM1, GM5, GF10, face detection autofocus, and image stabilization. Yeah. Pix Jill says, hi Robin, great images, glad to see you try Fuji. I'm also a micro photo shooter and recently purchased a Fuji. I use both systems, Fuji for JPEG. It's liberating skipping post-process. Nah, I should roll for my Fuji. The JPEG is horrible. I cannot stand all these film simulations. It just, my eyes bleed. My goodness. Nicholas says, my first message was a bit short. To me, it feels that there is not much marketing around micro photo's benefits, and not releasing updates means less visibility in the media. They could do better. Definitely, they should do more marketing. Small rig mode? Attaching stuff? Why you want to attach stuff? No. Cuttlefish says, do you ever do astro photos, Robin? Yeah, not my cup of tea. And especially like the amount of clouds and the light pollution in the city. No. Sorry. Sunny says, have you ever tried the GH7? What is your take? No, I have not tried it, but it's so massive, so heavy. I'd rather use a Sony camera or a Canon camera, and so expensive. To a point where I look at it, it's like, wow, suddenly Sony cameras are affordable. Yep, that's why I talk about Leica lenses. Yeah. Nope. Leica lenses. Nope. Captain says, there are situations where a smartphone app or even bigger screen is a must-have. A studio setup on the go. Original time in front of the lens is about... What situation? Look. What photography do? I do let's say wedding photography. Why do I want to attach a phone in front of my camera? I'll just use the camera and run and shoot, right? I shoot mini concert. Why do I want to attach a large phone on the camera? Usually the venue will be dark, and having a bright screen in the dark venue is a no-no. You use the electronic viewfinder. I do street photography. I use a small setup. Why do I want to make a tiny camera by having this? The smartphone is larger in terms of size compared to my camera. Why do I want to make the size setup twice the size and weight from what I originally used? Just doesn't make sense. Like, no. What else do I shoot? I don't know. So I shoot portraits, I shoot street, I shoot weddings, I shoot events, I shoot mini concerts. None of these situations will benefit from attaching an external monitor or a phone. It just makes it so hard to carry around. And I just said, right, tomorrow I'm shooting, let's see, where is it now? I'm gonna shoot tennis, right? How? Even with the smartphone under the hot sun, this screen is gonna be very hard to see, right? I'd rather use the viewfinder. So no. Great Vazini says, ST20, ST30, my 2. So much for my memory. ST3 and a couple of the Bayer sensor cams. Okay. Zimi says it's like a Leica tax. Yeah. Cuttlefish says, that's crazy about the Leica lenses. Yeah, that's true. I found the exact website. I shared it a few live streams ago. I talk about this at great length. Because someone challenged me, right? Robin, where's proof? I have proof. It was emitted by the Leica, not Leica, the Panasonic engineers themselves. They said Leica had zero input in terms of lens design. So if that's true, then stop using the Leica brand, seriously. Yeah. Ollie says, I need to bring a laptop in the... What the hell? No! What the hell are you shooting? My goodness. Try bringing the laptop and the, what you call that, whatever external monitor shooting a wedding. I want to see you do it. Yeah, Sunny says, Panasonic has their G series of lenses. Yeah, I wish Panasonic takes more pride in their own lenses rather than, you know, like, oh, it's a Leica lens, right? Yeah. The Panasonic 200 f2.8 is called Leica glass. It's not really true. It seems to be a good lens. Yep, it is a good lens. I've never said Panasonic lens is not good. I have the Panasonic 15 1.7. You guys are seeing me through the live stream. I've said amazing things about the Panasonic 9 f1.7. Right. I love Panasonic lenses. I've never said anything bad about Panasonic lens. I just feel that, you know, they shouldn't give away the credit, right? They made them. So please have some pride. These are your lenses. You should be proud of them, right? Rather than, oh, people say, oh, this is a Leica lens, not a Panasonic lens. Like, when I heard it, I cringe. Like, seriously. Yeah. Captain Road says, too bad Panasonic didn't use the Leica branding. Oh, they did. They don't need to use it to the fullest extent. People will just say, this is the Leica 25 f1.4 instead of Panasonic 25 f1.4. This is the Leica 15 1.7 instead of saying this is a Panasonic 15 1.7. They say, this is a Leica 9 f1.7 instead of saying this is a Panasonic 9 f1.7. Like, seriously. They don't need it because Leica contributed nothing to those lenses. I'd rather just use Panasonic. Yeah. Zimi says, I must avoid Leica. Why? 25.4 is awesome. I got it really cheap. They are Panasonic lenses. Why do you avoid them? Whether it's Leica branded or not, with the Leica badge or not, right? They're still Panasonic. Yeah. Why do you avoid? Ollie says, if you really like Leica, I recommend trying old Canon and Zeiss glass, even older Nikon glass. Well, as long as they have autofocus, I don't mind. No autofocus, no go for Robin. Yeah. Kadarot says, but the Leica CEO doesn't have the only Leica for Third Digilux 3, his favorite display case in his home office. Okay. Yeah, Michael says, I care. What do you care? Juliet says, the right audience for me is not on YouTube, and that's why I'm publishing on Substack for photographers who care. It's not for everyone though. Yeah, but then again, YouTube has become an important source of income for me. Sometimes it's about half of my monthly income. So, you know, I gotta do what it takes to pay the bills, right? Andrew says, oh, Robin, do you see Burger King decided to make their own Charmera? I just got one for the sake of collection. Really? I have no idea. Let's see. Burger King camera, right? In Malaysia? Really? Oh wow. Mini camera. Is it any good? 59.90. Wow. Okay. How is it so far? Give me your take, Andrew. Okay, let's go to a few more chat and then we'll go to the photo sharing. Greg Vanzini says we should be glued to videos about composition, but gear is fun. Yeah. RX10. Yep. Well, he says, I care about composition. That's why I endure a ground glass on a view camera and turns the view upside down. Okay. Ton says, well, I for one like your videos about photography. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sandy says, how about G9 Mark II? Have you tested it before? I tried it briefly. Banana says, I feel Panasonic could take the S9 body but stack Micro Four Thirds sensor in it, add a viewfinder with extra zoom. That's what they did with the L10, right? That's exactly what they did with L10, just that the lens you can't change. The Great Vanzini says, wish the G9 was a bit smaller and a bit lighter. I know, right? Like, it's such a good camera, but it's so large and heavy. And the G9 Mark II is even bigger and heavier. Like, why, Panasonic? Why? Suba says, years ago, a photography teacher told me that beginners shoot too wide in general, and the one compositional element they should focus on when starting out is to fill the frame. Was he right about it? And I don't think there's a right and wrong in photography, and what applies to one situation doesn't really apply to everything. Like the way you approach macro photography will not be the same way you approach street photography. Like when you do macro, you almost have to use flash and you have to go as close as possible, right? But for street photography, I don't encourage using flash and I don't encourage going too close because you want the background to tell the story as well. And it's also different from portraits, right? Portraits will care about the person's emotion or expression on the face, how they look at the camera, is there a connection? And it's also different from landscape or architecture photography or I don't know, it's just the way you talk about one thing, it just is so general and I don't think that's fair. All right. Yeah. Ollie says, if people are in my frame when I shoot landscape, I wait for them to leave before clicking the shutter. Okay. Andrew says, Burger King camera with the fake 10 megapixels. I'll just leave it at that. It's nice if you view it small, but just don't zoom in. It's pretty similar to Chamera's quality. Maybe it's even the same camera. Right now I'm curious. Juliet says, great to see you again, Robin. I need to go back to work, but have a great rest of this month. Thank you so much. Thanks for dropping by and do enjoy your work. Nice seeing you here. Thanks for dropping by. Michael says, how valid is the claim that Leica merely provided the name and nothing else? Where do you get it? Okay, let me see if I can trace it. If I can, I can. If I can't, feel free to look back my older live stream. Let's see. What was the keywords that I use? What was that again? Let's see. If I can find it, I can find it. I probably can't find it here. But it was talked about in a few live streams before. Yeah. How much Leica? Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. It was a Japanese site that has this, all right? Even AI says it's just for certifying quality control standards, but I don't trust AI. I don't trust AI. Let me see if I can find this information. I wish I bookmarked that particular site though, unfortunately. Okay, there's another reference. I have not seen this. Ah, the site is broken. No. Okay, this site is broken. Why? So it says this particular site reference. Oh my god, all the sites are broken. Anyway, this is gonna take too much time. Let me just see. Okay. I'll spend a bit more time looking for the site. If I can't find it, well, feel free to look at my past few live streams. Let's see. Like, contributed. Can't seem to find back that particular, what do you call that, site. Ah. No, this is about L mount. Okay. Nope, this is not it. Let me find back my own live stream. That could be faster, right? You guys must be bored already. Yeah, I don't want to be the guy who just claims things and, you know, like, suddenly, hey, that's not true, right? Yeah, I just don't want to, like, simply say things that are not true. How many live streams was this ago? Or let me try another way. If I can find it, if I can find it. If I can't, never mind. But let me just quickly find through my own... Okay. Keywords. Like, so hard to find. When you want to find something, it just doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, let's move on first. Let me just go to my second sharing of photograph. I will find, so I'll tell you what, Michael, after this live stream, I will find that particular link and I'll put in the description or the comment, or both. I'll put in the description and comment. You can check it out later, all right? Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the photo sharing, the second part. So for the second part of the photo sharing, let me see where it is. Basically, I am shooting with this Olympus EM1 and the 25 f1.8. And these photographs will be shared in the next video, which is coming out on Monday. If you're a member, you're going to see the video on Sunday, 24 hours before everyone else. It's a POV video. I'm shooting around the streets of Kuala Lumpur using the EM1 and the 25 1.8. But in the video itself, I'm talking about real tips on how to improve your photography. So let's see how well that video does. These are photographs that I've taken with the EM1 and 25 1.8. It was quite a cloudy day. I think the sun came out a little bit, but generally it was quite cloudy. So I saw the mini red lanterns. I guess when they turn on the electricity at night, it will glow in red. It's just outside this door, and the door is guarded with this metal grill. So I thought it was quite interesting. Yeah. This is the wet market at Petaling Street. Just some guys hanging out there. waiting for customers. So I just grabbed a shot of them. This was sort of candid, not really candid because the guy obviously saw me, but I stole the shot from a distance. I did not ask permission. I was just walk by, grab a quick shot, and continue walking on. So yeah, and this is obviously was it Assam laksa or curry noodles? Curry noodles for breakfast in Petaling Street area as well, near the wet market area. I just love the condiments. They have like the shredded omelette. They have the shredded cucumber. They have the diced red shallot onions. Red onions. They have sambal. They have chili, chopped chili, everything, all the colors, green, red, purple, yellow, everything coming together very, very nicely. I just like all the shapes, texture, and colors coming in one particular frame. Yeah. This is at Pasar Karat. I don't enjoy shooting at Pasar Karat, but apparently it is the popular spot for street photographers in Kuala Lumpur. I was joining my friends in this particular session, so I was just tagging along. I just shoot whatever I can find, but if it was up to me, I would skip this whole place altogether. I don't really like this place. It's a little bit too crowded. The background is a little bit too messy. Not my kind of photography. But one of the things that I said in that tip that I'm sharing on Monday is to move out of your comfort zone. So sometimes it's also good to do something that you don't always do, to put yourself in a situation where you don't like doing it. Like, don't stay comfortable. That's something that will be against, it will definitely not encourage your growth, right? If you want to improve, if you want to get better, you have to move out of your comfort zone. So sometimes doing something that you don't like will push you to be a better photographer. So that's why I sort of told myself, hey, like, try something that I don't always do. Yeah, this is also at the the Pasar Karat, or the Thieves Market. Yeah. And there's a man sitting down in a coffee shop. All right. I was so close. I had my camera at him. I actually wanted him to look at me so I can say hi and I talk to him and stuff like that. But he just looked away into the, I don't know, maybe he's daydreaming or something. I just grabbed a shot. I waited for like 20 seconds. He did not respond, so I just walk away. Obviously, he's very deep into his own thought. I did not want to disturb him. So yeah. I think I shared this before in a members only live stream. Andrew will have remembered me talking about this, where the lion is supposed to be auspicious, and then they put a what you call that, the plastic container on top of the head. The lion is supposed to be a symbol of wealth and prosperity, and you put a dirty container on top of that. How does that help you to bring in luck and good feng shui? So I thought it was very, very, very funny. And there's a nice graffiti at the background. I just have to wait for someone to walk by. So this lady just walked by. I just grab a quick shot, a very simple shot of contrasting a person with a nice background. Yeah. This guy, his name is Kamil. He is a street photographer himself, but he's also seen around the streets of Petaling Street doing a lot of the graffiti or the street painting, the street art. It's a very friendly guy. If you do see him, do say hi. And he doesn't mind having his photographs taken. He's a very nice guy. And yeah, just capture a shot of him doing his work, doing some street art, some painting along the... this area is very near the Petaling Street's Kwai Chai Hong or Little Ghost Lane. So yeah. So there's like a mirror, broken mirror next to him. So I just grab a shot of him, a portrait of him looking at the camera with a reflection of him in the mirror. And of course, there's some nice light shining on his face. I wasn't the only one shooting this. There were other photographers. So on Monday's video, it's a POV video. You can see what happens around me, in front of me. Before I click the shutter button, you can see there were a lot of other photographers as well taking this particular shot. I was not the only one. So yeah, some lanterns hanging at the Little Ghost Lane. Nothing special about this shot. I just like that there's some repetition, cubes, the shapes, and color. Very bright colors, right? Yeah. And of course, very standard shot of people walking by with light and shadow. Very bright light, very harsh shadow. And I like the bright green, apple green in the background with vertical lines and the zigzag texture. Everything just comes together very, very nicely. Of course, people with umbrella is always very dramatic. And legs with the body being hidden. I think this is a very typical street photography trick. You don't show everything. There's like hands coming out from nowhere, legs dangling from somewhere, part of the body being hidden. That's a very usual street photography trick that a lot of people use. And nice light and shadow play again. I like the bright reds. I like the bright yellow. I like the shining light, the bright highlights, the shadows. Everything just comes together very, 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 very nicely. That's it for the second part of sharing. All right, let's get back to the chat. Okay, let's get to members. Yeah, Andrew said you did share with past live stream with a link. Let's hope the live stream works. Not the live stream, the link works. Because there were more than one link, right? There were multiple links saying the same thing. So the one I found earlier, that link is broken. So let's hope the link I shared in the past few live streams ago, let's hope the link still works. All right. Let's see. Zimi says, I read mixed reviews about the Leica zooms and mostly chose the Olympus one in comparison, but maybe one day the 5200 f2.8 to f4. Okay. Sunny says, Burger King Chamera is a copycat of Kodak Chamera and with Mule Plus to spend another 60 ringgit for it. Well, Chamera itself is like 180 ringgit, right? 160, 180 ringgit. So if it's the same thing, it's only 60 ringgit, then it's a steal, right? Yeah. Yeah, but then again, Captain Webb, I seem to misplace the link. So I guess to be 100% transparent, I want to look back for the link and I want to share it again. So it will be in the pin comment. I'll enable the comment to pin it once I found the link, and then I will also share it in the pin in the description, just to be fair to everyone, right? And I don't want you guys to go through the trouble of digging what I've said in the past. I said it, so it's my responsibility to prove that I actually did say it. So it's on me, it's not on you, Captain Webb. No worries. I remember our conversation there. There was some live streams ago. So yeah. Banana says, I have mostly Olympus Pro lenses. As much as I like the idea of the clutch, autofocus, manual focus switch on Panasonic lenses means it does not get knocked in my bag. Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's see. Santik says there is no one hard and fast rule in photography, plus there are reasons to break the rules for certain purposes. Yeah. It's like what works for one situation may not work for another, right? Like for example, use f1.2 or f1.8 to blur the background, but sometimes the background is nice. It can help the photograph, right? So you got to understand that particular situation, whether that rule works or not, or whether you want to break it or not. Yeah. Thomas says, Panasonic needs an updated GM1 with a viewfinder. I think that's GM5, right? It's so painfully obvious. I guess you're saying an updated GM5 with a better viewfinder. Yeah. Zimi says, I really like the chunky G9 Mark II body. If it works for you, go for it. It doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for a lot of people. Jay Withero says, you're always so happy and make me a better person. Thanks for Georgia, USA. No worries. I do what I can. I share what I can. Sunny says, if Panasonic can make a Panef replacement, a market to capture here. Not really. I think also like they have to be very careful of how they spend their money making products, because Panef did not do well, and from their own catalog of products, there were some cameras that were already very successful, which they can take advantage of. So why not look into their own catalog of products and work from there, right? Instead of touching some other products that never did well in the market anyway. Yeah. Zimi says, I heard the 100 to 400 has a sticky zoom and it's a dust sucker. 100 to 400 Olympus. I wonder how the service is in this regard. I'll never try it if I have the 100 to 400 Panasonic or 100 to 400 Olympus. Interesting. Because the Olympus 100 to 400 is weather sealed, right? So I don't think the dust will go in that easily. Yeah. Captain Webb says, maybe Micro Four Thirds might profit by having Leica developing its own sensor with a Chinese sensor company which is offering Micro Four Thirds sensors, but those are either for video or industrial use. Yeah. Well, I don't see anything wrong using Sony sensors. I think Sony is doing quite a good job making sensors, even for Micro Four Thirds. I'm enjoying all my cameras, and I think most of my cameras image sensors are made by Sony, so I don't see any issue with that. No worries, Michael. Check back a little bit later. I still need to find that link, and I will put it in the pinned comment or in the description. That's the best I can do. Yeah, because I said something, I understand, so I need to make sure I follow through. It's my responsibility, so I'll gladly do it. Yeah. Ollie says, I guess Robin doesn't like the Hoga 120 camera, only has one shutter speed and no autofocus. Well, no autofocus, no go for Robin. So yeah. Banana says, I know it will make little to no money, but the Panasonic Micro Four Thirds stereoscopic camera will be a lot of fun. Yeah, they need to come up with products that can sell. Hey, there are a lot of fun products they can try, but at the end of the day, they need to make a profit. They need to bring in as much revenue as possible. So, and they need to increase the market share of Micro Four Thirds. So they can't make a product that is too niche, right? Same argument goes for a monochrome Pan-F or any camera. Basically, I would love a monochrome OM3, for example, but that will also mean if they come up with that camera, if they can't sell, then they're losing money. I don't want them to lose money, right? I want OM System and Panasonic to make money and survive, because I want them to continue making new cameras and lenses for us in the future, right? So, yeah, as much as I want some of these cool niche products, maybe not, maybe in the future, right? The Red Vanzini says, I really want a Pan-F style camera made by anyone, but as Robin has pointed out in the past, it did not sell well to begin with. So now, like, the priority at the moment is to make products that can sell. And yeah, in the future, maybe they can play around with all this, maybe a monochrome OM3 or a Pan-F Mark II, for example. That will be really, really awesome. Yeah. Robin is avoiding Pasar Karat like I avoid Pudu Market. Nah, I love Pudu Market. Pudu is awesome. Pasar Karat is flea market. Not really. Pasar Karat is thieves market. That's a direct translation. At least that's what I'm aware of. Yeah. Marky says, very nice. What time of the day do you take the photos of the thieves market? Morning. They were only open until 10 in the morning. By 10, they started to pack already. I mean, they're still there. It's just that slowly they are disappearing after 10 o'clock. So if you want Pasar Karat, you gotta go around 8 to 10, around that morning time. Yeah. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. GX9 Mark II or GM5 Mark II and a new pancake lens would be great. Yeah, I guess that's what most people are saying for tonight. Yeah. Ollie Hansen says, I think Panasonic GM5 is priced a bit high on the used market. Yeah, which means there is a demand, right? Not enough supply, but high demand. That's the reason why the price went up, which indicates a massive interest in similar camera for Panasonic to make. This only proves our point that the GM series camera, if they make it, will do really, really well. Yeah. Whiplash says, what surprises me is how Olympus and OM still can't touch Panasonic in video quality and features. Even my old GS8 and GS850 take great looking video. Is my video looking that bad? Is this live stream looking really bad? Is any of my videos that I published looking really bad? Because they were all taken from Olympus cameras. Are they really that bad, really? Of course, Panasonic will be more advanced in video. And if you want video, then go for Panasonic. Right? It's good to have choices. And I don't expect Olympus or OM System to surpass Panasonic when it comes to video quality. That's fine. But I don't think they're that bad, right? Like, is there anything wrong with this live stream feed? Is there anything wrong with the videos that I've made on my channel? Tell me if there are. Or am I missing anything? Am I just, in Malay terms, syok sendiri? I would like to think that this live stream quality is okay, right? Or my videos are fine, right? Like, seriously. Anyway, Straight says, late to the stream, my answer is a new GM with a screen that flips out 180 degrees to face forward. A lot of people want a GM. See, it's like that's the popular demand, right? People want the GM series. The Grand Vanzini says, I wonder how the Oli Astro Cam is selling. Very poorly, right? It's not hard to see. Like, out of 100 people that I know, maybe only 10 people will do astrophotography, all right? 100 photographers. And out of the 10 people who do astrophotography, they are perfectly happy with their cameras, whatever camera they're using. There maybe only 1 or 2 will invest into the OM3 Astro, right? So no, it's selling very poorly. Yeah. Okay, I am going to put a pause here. Oh, there's still more chat. Okay. What do you think about Lumix Lab system? No comment because I've never used it. Matt in Western Australia. WA is Western Australia, right? Every manufacturer is releasing more and more expensive top-tier cameras. Will we expect to see a Panasonic pro-level body like the OM1 Mark II? Isn't that the G9 Mark II? Am I wrong? Isn't the G9 Mark II the Panasonic's counterpart to the OM1 Mark II, which is already released, right? And G9 Mark II is a pro-level camera, right? With magnesium alloy body, with dual cut slots and weather sealing, much like the OM1 Mark II, right? Yeah. Live stream will mostly fail if sound is bad. Yeah, true. Thank you, Gregory, for for the super chat. I appreciate the constant support. You have been always very consistent, and yeah, thanks for always being here. I'm always very happy to see you, Gregory, and I hope you're doing well back home in the US. Yeah, Gregory was one of the workshop participants in Kuala Lumpur, the workshop that I did with Peter Forsgard and Mati Solanto in March, April this year. We had such a fun time, and we were very happy to have you with us, Gregory. And yeah, hopefully I can see you again sometime in the future in whatever possible scenario. All right, I guess that's it. I've caught up with the chat. Let's end it with a high note here. All right, and yeah, I guess we have talk about quite a bit on which camera Panasonic should release. I think the highest or the most popular answer was the GM series, followed by the GX series, right? I think a lot of us want small, capable micro four thirds cameras that can change lens, and I think Panasonic is the right candidate to make such camera happen. Based on the rumors, one camera is coming from Panasonic sometime this year. Hopefully it's a micro four thirds camera, and hopefully it is based on the Panasonic L10, but you can change lens. And that will be really, really awesome with the latest sensor, latest tag. Maybe this time add in the 5-axis image stabilization. That will be really amazing. I've had such a great time chatting with you guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the stream. And yeah, hope you guys have a good time as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed looking at my photographs as well. If you have, don't forget to, well, if you can, please buy me a cup of coffee, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.